guys, what is up? This is the top 16 of the Arkansas State Championships. This is Ty Smith on the left. He's my really good friend from Team Legacy. I'm not sure if I've actually had him on any of my videos, versus Mike G, who I had a PlayTCG.me battle with on the right playing CMT. If you couldn't guess, Ty's playing Zeals. You can see the Zekrom EX start, which isn't an ideal start, but you know, it's going to happen some of the time. It's a risky run. We're going to see Mike gets to drop the Eviolite right away, and he's punting his hand away. The lone Mewtwo start, or just really the Mewtwo lead in general for CMT in this matchup, actually can be fairly favorable. You know, you can usually go toe-to-toe with them on the Mewtwo exchange. Usually they're running 2, you're running 3. And also, if you get the Mewtwo DCE and catchers, you can really do some damage on those Tynamos. None of the Tynamos are going to have more than 40 HP. That's the most any Tynamo has in the format. A lot of them have 30 HP. Not that it really makes a difference, but, you know, Tynamos are pretty frail little guys, so you're going to be able to kill a lot of them. And then they're really not going to have that big board advantage that they usually have over you in the late game. It's going to be fairly easy for you to, you know, they're easy prizes. Is basically what it boils down to. Mike also goes first, which is another huge advantage. And even though Ty isn't going to have any Tynamos on the field, that's just another turn that Mike gets to build up the energy on his Mewtwo. But we do see he misses the turn attachment, so he'll need the DC or the switch and Sky Arrow shenanigans or something big to get it going. Ty attaches DCE right away, which is interesting in that, you know, if Mike responds with the DCE as well, then that'll just be 80 damage right off the bat on his PX, and you know, it just sets up some KOs, which can be problematic. But at the same time, if you don't attach, you could be, you know, setting yourself up for being slowly KO'd. It's really a lose-lose situation for him right now. We do see that Ty hits the Tyrogue and the Tynamo. So he's got some basics he can bench, and he's going to bench both of them. And up, he's got a third basic. He's got a Zekrom. So that's going to be his turn. And now Mike attaches an Eviolite to a benched Mewtwo, and he's just going to pass. So the slow start from Mike seems to mean that we're seeing a favorite for Ty right now, just because once both these decks are really set up, and CMT really doesn't even set up that much, Zeals is just a stronger deck. It really is. So we're going to see another attachment, and Ty's going to be able to do damage this turn. And there is the Glinting Claw. And based on the number of dice put down, that means that it only did... Oh no, I think it did 60 is what it did, but with the it did 80. With the Eviolite, that goes down to 60. Now, Mike does have the DCE to attack a little late, and he's able to use a X-Ball for 100 damage. However, if Ty has the Lightning here, he's just going to be able to Strong Volt for KO. I do see the DCE, but I don't see the Lightning, which actually really hurts him. If he did have that Lightning, he would be able to do... he'd be able to knock him out and take 2 prizes first, which is a big deal in this matchup. Instead, he might be forced to play that catcher and try and maybe stall for a turn, or, you know, do any number of things. But he's just flipping through. There's really no good answer now that he doesn't have that Lightning energy. That really would have shifted the momentum of this game a lot more in his favor. He catches out the other Mewtwo, not a bad play. There's no Sky Arrow Bridge in play, so that means it'll be hard to retreat. Additionally, it also sets up KOs for Mewtwo's and takes pressure off Ty later if he is to engage in the Mewtwo war. So we see Mike bench another Celebi. It's a little bit off camera. I was more concerned with getting Ty's full bench just because with seeing the discard pile and stuff like that for his deck is a lot more important. And we're going to see Mike play the switch. He goes the conservative route, not having bridge apparently in hand. He was thinking about Smeargle to try and get a second supporter or even a first one, but Ty hasn't played one in a while, so it's safe to reason even for Mike, who can't see any of Ty's hand, that he probably doesn't have a supporter. Going to see a failed dual ball and then the X ball for 2 prizes, which hurts Ty. He doesn't have any setup in this game at all so far. You know, this is like a turn 1 setup for him, and it's already, I think, his 3rd turn of the game. And just whiffing on supporters, you can see how much that hurts. He's going to junk arm for the catcher, and I don't know what he's going to catch her for. Catcher's out for the other Mewtwo. He's going to plus power, and he's going to mischievous punch and go to sleep. So that's 40 more damage on the board for him. And he's awake. Again, not much Ty can do. He doesn't really have energy. He could have gone for the Zekrom and basically forced Mike to attack him. He's going to be able to junk arm for the switch. And now he's considering switching into Celebi, which means he might have drawn the Sky Air off his prizes. There it is. And he also hit a punt, so that's a pretty nice hand for him. He might get some extra energy attachments. The other thing he could probably hope for is the catcher. If he gets the catcher, he can get out that Tynamo, and that would basically seal the deal. Being 3 prizes behind and really struggling to get out those eels that are so important for board control just would kind of sink this one for time. Just push it over the edge. We see that Mike Forest Breast to his Virizion, and he's going to Leaf Wallop for KO. Ty is just forced to Outrage. And at this point, it's looking like there's a plus power and an Oak. So the plus power is probably just to try and clear Mike's hand. He's going for the catcher, and he's going for KO here. That would put him at 2 prizes away, and then basically it would make it so that if he could get more energy on the field, it would make it so that Ty couldn't play any EXs, specifically Mewtwo's, because they're just going to get knocked out by one of Mike's Mewtwo's. However, if he draws the N at this point, it could really swing the game around for him, but it's unlikely. There's a switch into Smeargle. He's going to Portrait for the 1 card, which is a switch. You know, I think the main reason of playing that switch was in order to maybe, maybe lower Virizion's Leaf Wallop just because of outrage damage. There's 1 heads on the dual ball for Ty. That's another interesting thing to note, is that Ty's running dual balls instead of collectors. It's kind of ballsy, not to make a pun, but it does have a bigger risk-reward factor than the other version, but it looks like he's having trouble finding anything. There's the Smeargle, however, which, maybe he could get the supporter, but at this point, it probably wouldn't do all that much. He plays a switch, he has free retreat, and there's the Juniper, so he's just going to get 7 cards. We do see 2 Mewtwo EX and a catcher. If he runs a Shaman and he had a dual ball, maybe he could go for that and try and knock out the Mewtwo, but at the same time, he'd have to put 3 energy on the Mewtwo. Or no, he wouldn't. That's not true at all. If he has a DCE as well, he's going to level ball. Okay. So now things are maybe turning around a little bit for Ty, actually. I see where he's going. He's going to get out the Eel. He's going to be able to bench Mewtwo, Dynamotor to it, attach from hand, and now all that damage that he's done to those Mewtwo's actually is going to come into play. He's got free retreat with Sky Arrow Bridge, and he's going to be able to X-Ball for 2 prizes. So Ty really turned that one around with a really big Portrait. I think I kind of undermined the significance of the damage he'd done, but oh, that's going to hurt. Mike drops a Shaman. He's going to be able to now put energy on his Mewtwo EX, and he only needs one more with the plus power. There's the grass energy. And the only thing that Ty can really do now is just hope that since Mike has a clogged bench and only has one attack rather than Brizian out, that he could do something about it. He has the DCE to return KO, and if he had the N, he could actually really make a difference here, but unfortunately he has to Pont. I feel like if he played the N, he probably would have had this game. Brizian can't really do too much against Mewtwo, especially on its first turn attacking. It'll only leave well up for, 40? You know, it'll have 2 energy on it, so unfortunately for Ty, he's kind of pressed for options. He can try and attach to something else at this point, but really the only thing that's worth attaching to is maybe Thundurus, just because Zekrom would be, more of a threat to be KO'd. And Thundurus has a full health. He goes for the portrait, and he gets a Juniper. I think he's probably hoping for an N. But maybe he should have portraited first, just in case he could have hit the N that way, knowing he could have done that. That could have maybe changed the shape of the game. We're going to have Mike dual ball here, and it's all up to Mike having the energy now. There's the Mewtwo. And there's a DCE for a turn attachment. There's a plus power, a Forest Breath, that's just insurance at that point. And he's going to X-Ball, so that'll be game 1. So Mike takes in a really close one where Ty had problems setting up, but Ty was still able to come back with a really nice portrait for Juniper and make it a really close game 1. We'll be going into game 2 shortly, and Ty will be going first. Can't wait to see you guys there.